Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sixth Round Post-Fight Show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, as always, Eddie Mercado. We are coming to you just after the wrap-up of UFC Tampa, Jędrzejczyk versus Waterson at the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida, and a complete one-sided ass-kicking landslide for Joanna Jędrzejczyk, who just looked absolutely at the peak of her game. And I can't believe that some judge out there gave Michelle Waterson a round.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that either. But what a master class by JJ.
Oh,
This was a return to form. She looked absolutely phenomenal. And, there was so much, I don't even know where the whole weight cutting problem or issue arose from. But,
it was reports that she'd talked to the UFC and told them she couldn't make weight. And I mean, the UFC certainly didn't refute that at any point. She started to spin it as rumors after a while, but even Dana White was like, oh, I think she was just maybe messing with Michelle Waterson. She definitely told the UFC she wanted to try to get a catchweight bout at some point.
Yeah, it just seemed like a ploy to maybe shift the betting lines or something, and it just didn't work. I don't know.
I think it might have been a ploy to get in Waterson's head and make her pissed off and think that my opponent isn't going to, I'm already small for this division, and then my opponent's like, hey, can we do it up 5 pounds?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, who is better at head games than JJ at strawweight?
Yeah.
She used to bring presents to her opponents at the weigh-ins.
Yep. And she just absolutely walked through Waterson. I thought, maybe Waterson, if she kept outside, she kept long, she just kind of kept her kicks out, threw punches, tried to get inside, with combos and then get back out, that she could compete with Joanna at range a little, even if I didn't think she'd win. But even that was just not happening at all, let alone all the clinch battles that she absolutely lost, no question.
Yeah, JJ pulled a Jesus the way she walked all over Waterson.
Oh, man. I don't know how many years you've been waiting to drop that one, but
it just came to me in the moment. It just came in the moment. But
I'm proud of you.
Credit to Waterson, though, for never quitting and never giving up and always trying to find a way to finish the fight. She actually took the back twice and went full on for the rear naked choke, but the submission defense was there. The anti-grappling was there. And the clinch work was phenomenal from Joanna. Anytime it got in close quarters, JJ was the one throwing all the strikes, whether it was knees to the body, sneaking in elbows. I mean, there were moments where Waterson just kind of looked frozen, like she didn't know what to do out there.
I mean, that's always kind of been the secret. It's weird that it's still the secret part of JJ's game, that everybody looks at her and thinks, oh, I don't want to hang out at range with her. She throws too much volume. She's too slick. She's too good a striker.
Which is true.
People like Tisha Torres and Michelle Waterson being like, well, I'll go grab the clinch. And it's just yeah, but she's way better in the clinch than she is at range.
Yeah,
I mean,
she had all the right answers in the clinch. And Waterson,
the most definitive strawweight losses of the only strawweight losses of Joanna's career, they all came to range boxing.
Yeah.
It came to somebody who was a better striker than her outside. She's never been beat in the clinch at 115. The fact that Shevchenko did it at 125 really honestly just shows how incredibly much of a beast Shevchenko is.
And how great she is also in the clinch.
Yeah.
Her Muay Thai is also phenomenal. But yeah, man, this was I love Waterson, right? She's such a sweetheart, such a great person. And it was tough to see her lose, but man, JJ is just next level. She's the cream of the crop. And I'm watching the fights with my special lady friend, and we were watching Mackenzie Dern, and it's man, how are these people even in the same league? Completely different planets.
Yeah, you hear people talking about oh, Joanna lost 3 of her last 4 and all that. It's yeah, but give a little context. Rose is, as of today, the only person that competes with Joanna well at strawweight, because she has the one thing that Joanna really just does not defend well against, which is a long left hook.
Yeah.
Joanna just does not have an answer for that at all. But nobody else in that division has got a consistent counter left hook that they can throw from range. And so, without that, you're really just talking about like one physical monster at 125 pounds that beat her. And even Andrade never had success with that at 115.
No, Andrade got picked apart. She got absolutely picked apart as well. And like the craziest thing is the most damage Joanna took in this fight was self-inflicted.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like she broke her foot or like severely screwed it up by just relentlessly kicking Waterson.
Broke the record for kicks in a fight and her foot along the way.
And the best part is like most of those kicks came behind punches.
Yeah.
Like they weren't just naked kicks. She finished her combo. It was so beautiful. Like the counters were there, the leads were there. This was almost flawless.
Yeah, the thing with Joanna is you almost never see her just throw one punch or one strike. You almost never see her even just throw two strikes. It's almost always three or more. And it's always 1-2 kick. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, truly we're blessed. Like she's definitely insanely unique, insanely fluid, gifted. I mean, I can't say enough nice things about her. And it hurts because I love Waterson, and my heart wanted Waterson to win, but my head knew better.
Yeah. And the thing is too is that this sets up a fantastic fight. Like I can't wait to see Joanna versus Weili Zhang.
Ooh.
Like Zhang doesn't have Rose's range, but she's got a good, consistent counter-striking game, and she's a bull physically with better footwork than Andrade. Like, I'm not going to pick Zhang until I see it, but the basic tools are there to give Joanna trouble.
Yeah, I wonder where that fight would even take place.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because there's visa issues going on here.
Yeah, Zhang has to clear up her visa issues, but of course, Joanna at the moment has a broken foot, so until that heals, that fight isn't going to happen anyway.
I like how in her post-fight interview, she didn't even acknowledge it. Like, oh, what's this ice on your foot? She's like, I don't see any ice.
Yeah, what are you talking about? No.
Her attitude has just gotten so much better since her losses.
Yeah.
Like, she's touching gloves now, before the fight, during the fight. Like, so much more respect is being shown. And, that's good to see.
Yeah, and that's the great thing, too, with the Zhang as champ is that, the division really is open for anyone who anyone who can put on some dominant performances. That title shot is there. And so I can't wait to see Joanna get it. I hope this foot thing doesn't keep her out so long that somebody else is going to go up ahead of her, because it'd probably be like Tatiana Suarez, who I just don't think is ready quite yet. But, I mean,
I would be okay with that too, though. If that happened. It'd be fine. I feel like it would be some excellent feed.
It's just definitely like Joanna has set the table for the best title fight in that division at the moment,
Yeah.
She's made it clear that she's absolutely the division's number one contender.
Man, such a return to form.
Yep. Great performance from her. And the weird thing, of course, is too, with all the talk about her struggling to make weight and all that, at the end of the day, she didn't really seem like she struggled to make weight. The cut went fine the week of, and then in the cage, she didn't look like somebody who'd had a hard weight cut at all.
No, her cardio was there. If anything, it was the broken foot that slowed her output down just a tiny bit. But that fourth round, the volume she was throwing was through the roof.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats for this fight, and she landed 180 out of 300 significant strikes, 226 out of 347 total.
That's insane.
And in round 4, landed 46 out of 78 strikes, 46 out of 78 significant strikes, 50 out of 82 to Waterson's 12 significant strikes and 14 total.
Wow. If there was ever a time to throw foot stomps.
Yo, man, yeah.
It's in that 5th round.
Yeah, that could have got nasty if Waterson had noticed. But I mean, it's kind of thing too where fighters, in the middle of a fight, you got tunnel vision. Waterson's focused on all the volume coming her way. She probably had no idea Joanna broke her foot.
Yeah, and it was her back foot too. So even when Waterson was shooting in and going for this low single, it was on the good foot.
Yep.
Man, this was. I appreciate the dominance. I'm sad for Waterson, but JJ's just next level.
Yep. For that, Cub Swanson beat Kron Gracie 30-27. And I got to give some appreciation. I mean, obviously, there's appreciation to Kron for having a really raw game, but all the heart and cardio and willingness to just go after it for every round in the world.
Yeah.
But I also have to appreciate the hell out of Cub Swanson for just being willing to go absolutely to war with anyone.
Yeah, and finally being against a superb grappler and not getting submitted.
Yep.
Like that was a big relief. And snapping a 4-fight losing skid.
Yeah, you could tell that meant a whole hell of a lot to him.
So much so he couldn't even answer the question on how it felt because he knew he would just lose his what.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I saw a couple people arguing that they thought that Gracie won or that maybe it should have been like a split or something.
What?
But I know. People are crazy. Close striking battles, people get all sorts of weird.
This wasn't even close, though.
It wasn't even that close. Swanson outstruck him 135-86, 100 in sig strikes, 143-109 total. Outlanded him in every single round.
And his strikes were way more significant.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think
we get lost on that. It's like, the 6 strikes are kind of close. Well, they're not all created equally. No. What Swanson was doing was damaging. What Gracie was doing was a valiant effort, but nowhere near to the same sort of horsepower coming his way.
Yeah.
Variety.
Yeah. He was throwing a ton of arm punches, getting into the clinch and throwing all these little short uppercuts and just kind of keeping his arms active, keeping his hands on Swanson. All credit to him.
Yeah.
But it was the kind of thing I think it was one of the things that he was so impressively dedicated to pressure and volume that people see Cub Swanson taking steps back and slipping and having to answer and Gracie's he's pushing the pace on this fight. And it's just this isn't the same offense though. It really isn't.
No. In fact, in my personal opinion, Gracie's best strike was when he pulled guard and landed an up kick. Seriously. That was his hardest strike of the entire fight.
And so it's win for Cub though, gets him back on the right foot so that he can take on somebody else, maybe knocking around the door of the bottom 15 and climb himself into the rankings off another win.
Yeah, because he's so much fun. What's more fun than Cub Swanson?
Yeah, if you got Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili right now, I'd watch the hell out of that.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And man, Gracie just could not get the fight to the ground to save his life. He had one moment where he actually closed up the full guard, but did absolutely nothing with it.
I mean, he doesn't have the wrestling chops. This is the appropriate wake-up call that Gracie's a really good grappler, but the modern era of MMA, you need a way to get the fight to the ground beyond pulling guard. And he needs to, there was no sense. The win over Alex Caceres was cool, but that was a standing back take that he dragged Alex Caceres to the ground against. And it, that shouldn't be automatically a reason to be he's ready for any top tier experienced vet now. And
there's a parallel there with Mackenzie Dern. She wasn't able, the wrestling wasn't there. So her takedown attempts got stuffed. And so she's left trying to pull guard and flopping to her back. And, you can't really do that at this level. It works sometimes, but it's rare.
Not often. And it's weird to see out of BJJ stars in the modern era after we've had 5 or 10 years of real definite examples that you have to have a wrestling game to make grappling work.
Yeah. I mean, even Damian Maia, you know.
Yeah, well, Damian Maia is a fantastic wrestler. He's one of the most underrated, high-quality wrestlers in MMA.
Yeah, it was like you can't get him off of you once he grabs a hold of you. And like Gracie, Dern, they don't have that.
No. Speaking of Upkicks being the best strike of the fight, we got to get to this welterweight fight between Niko Price and James Vick. And man, your boy cannot buy a win right now.
I know, man. I was so depressed when this happened. And beautiful segue, by the way, Zane. I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you.
But yeah, man, Vick, you know, he's lost 4 straight now and has been brutally knocked out in 3 of those. Man, this was crazy. It's like, okay, he's gonna make some adjustments. He's going up to welterweight. He's got his corner like actively in the fight, sending him cues to tighten up his defense real time. And like Price comes out and he's pressuring him like classic. This is how you fight James Vick. You get in his face, you back him up, you throw the overhand right. But Price shoots in, lands on his back, and Vick starts landing some really decent ground strikes.
Yeah, honestly, once I saw Price wrestling, I was like, you know what? This is the way you lose to James Vick. You don't go out and wrestle him. He's a great trap grappler, somebody who forces you into bad mistakes with your shots that he can jump on subs from. And it was right there. Like, Price shoots in, Vick ends up on top, hits that little hip toss. He's on top, like, posturing up. It's like, this is great for never mind.
Yeah, he just got overzealous and forgot how lethal Price is off of his back, and Price hits the up kick and knocks Vick out on impact. Well, it was a scary knockout.
I mean, I don't even know that you can plan for how dangerous, but I don't even know that you can know how dangerous Price is, because even knowing that he's dangerous, you could be like, you know, I'm in the wrestling ride on this guy's back, and he'll like, you know, throw a scorpion kick or something that'll hit your shoulder and knock you out. The dude is just the power he generates from weird positions is absurd.
This is the second time he's knocked someone completely unconscious from his back.
I know.
He did it to Randy Brown in a very unique kind of way, and here he is again with the up kick with the heel. Like, man, this guy is so opportunistic. This was tough for me to watch. And Vick was down for a little time, which bothered me.
Yeah, I mean, this is getting to the kind of point for him where he might have to take some time and really take kind of a hard look at it, because this is 3 KOs in his last 3 knockout losses in the first round in his last 4 fights. And
I mean, granted, like, look at who he's been fighting: Justin Gaethje, Paul Felder, Dan Hooker, and now Niko Price. Like, those aren't chumps.
No, they're all dudes with power and the power to finish fights early, but you know,
and Vick fights a lot.
He knocks out losses.
He's a really active fighter. So, yeah, maybe just taking some time away and just, you know, working on some things and, like you said, reevaluate. Because he's got talent. He's got the skills. He's dangerous himself. He hits hard. He's got those knees. That deceptively underrated grappling. I don't know, man. I wish I had an excuse. But
I mean, that's the thing, too, for him, is that it's, as a fighter, it's got to be hard to get in that position yourself and keep coming up with excuses and keep coming up with ways to say, like, no, I'm still great and I can still beat anyone when you're taking losses like that, you know?
But, I mean, he's definitely the kind of guy who, like, still has supreme confidence in himself. But it's nuts because he went from a 4-fight winning streak, finishing 3, to a 4-fight losing streak and getting finished in 3.
Yeah. Just saying, sooner or later, that's going to start wearing on your confidence. I hope.
And your body, just your overall health and well-being.
The health, too, obviously. For Price, huge win. Obviously, like, the UFC needs to start. They need to realize that he is a highlight killer be killed fighter and make sure he's always in a fun, high-profile fight.
Yeah, he's Nikita Krylov at welterweight.
Yeah, exactly. Tons of fun.
Super inconsistent, but it doesn't matter.
No.
Like, has he fought Mike Perry yet?
No. If Mike Perry were coming off a win, I would want that fight booked immediately.
It doesn't matter, though.
I know it doesn't matter at that point. he should just fight Mike Perry.
Yeah, there's no better fight, in my opinion, than him and Mike Perry. Like, nothing more violent.
Yeah, that's fair. It's very fair. All right, that brings us to a women's strawweight bout. We already talked about it a little earlier, but Mackenzie Dern taking the first loss of her career against Amanda Ribas. And this was a loss that I think anyone who had a realistic view of Mackenzie Dern's career, it was always like, this loss is going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
It's just, who's going to be the person that gets there first? Who's going to be the first fighter to realize, oh, wait, if I just don't ever grapple with her or clinch with her, I can just beat her.
But it's also the same person who is competent enough on the ground to just not get owned the second it goes there.
Yeah, that too.
Man, she looked really bad, Dern did. Like, she looked really bad. It's just jab, jab, overhand right. Or overhand right. Or telegraph takedown.
Yeah. That's it. That's been who Mackenzie Dern has been in every fight. It's just, it's worked.
And, like, she's gotten a little bit better at it. Like, she throws faster now, and it's more crisp. But it's still just she's a one-trick pony on the feet. And without the wrestling, she can't find top position, as she rises through the ranks. And she's left somewhere where she is least comfortable.
Yeah.
And she got exposed. Like, she was completely outclassed.
Yeah. And the thing, of course, with a fighter like Dern, once people see that loss, once your opponents see that fight, like, the mystique is broken. For a lot of fighters, they're gonna they know her credentials. They've seen her go out and get the sub. They go into bouts and they're gonna be like, oh man, I am, I don't want her to get anywhere close to me. I got to be really skittish. I got to be really worried about this, that, or the other thing. And now they're just going to be like, no, I can beat her. I know how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tough play. Like, that is very much going to be a position for Dern where it's like, you got to learn, you got to evolve because, as we've seen talking about Vick, if fighters start keying in on what they know where they know your weaknesses are, everybody will do it,
Mm-hmm.
If you have a big flaw that people can target, they're just going to go after it.
Yeah, man, it definitely was the worst I've ever seen her out there for sure. Yeah. Like, she just, I don't know, man. And she made weight too, which I was surprised at. I was shocked.
I mean, a lot of people remarked that she looked like she was she was more fit than she's ever been in her career.
Yeah, 4 months removed from giving birth. And she's
being a parent may have, really put some dedication into her. I mean, you look at her career before her time off, and she's like, I'll show up to camp and to train like a few times a week, but I want to be on the beach. I want to be enjoying myself. I'm not gonna kill myself to do this.
Yeah.
And it could be that this, getting a family kind of spurs you on to be like, oh no, I actually have to take everything really seriously now. My life has to be organized.
I mean, look at Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah.
He found his fourth wind.
Yep.
After fatherhood. I don't know. This isn't promising. No. She, you look at JJ and you look at her and, man, there's so much ground to cover for her to ever, even be considered in that kind of lofty altitude.
But she's also just 3 years into her career, and she's only 26. There's time. It's just, this has got to be the reality check moment where you say, it's not good enough to just do what you've been doing. You've got to go out. You got to try something else. You've got to work on actually having a well-crafted technical wrestling game. You've got to work on proper footwork, proper
striking,
punches.
Yeah. Some Muay Thai would be nice.
Yeah. You can't just be a bully and be physical and expect that to get you the fight that you want every time. And some prospects need that. Some young fighters, they need to run into that brick wall to realize they got to change course. We'll see where this goes for her.
I will say this about her. To her credit, she has a chin.
Yeah.
She is tough.
She's tough, and she has an incredibly deep skill set in one area. It's not like it's impossible for her to adjust. It's just this is the moment where she's got to learn she has to adjust.
And credit to Ribas for just looking phenomenal out there.
Yep.
The fight started, and she looked a little out of sorts, like she was kind of herky-jerky. But the second she clocked Dern, she instantly went smooth. And she was like, oh, I got this. She can't compete with me. And then she ran away with it.
I'd never seen that performance out of her before. It's absolutely the first time in her career I've seen her be able to just be like, oh, I can outstrike this person. I am only going to stay at range and outstrike them. I'm not going to clinch up. I'm not going to mess around and take them down and try to beat them up on the ground. I'm just going to do the thing where I have the advantage and keep to it. And she's got really nice form on her striking. So to see that out of her that's a great development for a fighter looking to move up the ranks.
The way she was countering that overhand right was beautiful.
Yeah.
She made Dern look so sloppy out there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted to see out of her and didn't trust she had, was just the consistency to turn good technique into round winning performances every time.
Yeah.
So
good to see. Promising.
Very, very good fight for her. For that, Matt Frivola snuck out a win over Luis Pena.
Man, I don't agree with this.
I scored it for Frivola personally. So
who would you have rather been in that fight?
I mean, but that just comes down to like a really bad second round. Like, I would much rather be Luis Pena because I don't want to get my ass kicked in the second round. But it's a 3-round fight, and Frivola started really hot in round 1.
Yeah.
Landing, dominating the offense for the first couple minutes. He got cracked up at the end of the round, but that doesn't necessarily mean judges have to score one part of that heavier than the other. And he got his ass kicked in round 2, but then he came back in round 3, and Pena just kind of, I don't know if coasted is the right word, but didn't have any urgency to meet Frivola's pace.
Yeah, I mean, Pena's output definitely dwindled in the third, but I don't know. I thought Pena won it.
That's fair. I mean, a lot of people, they saw Pena landing the hard shots at the end of round 1. They gave him the round. Round 2 couldn't have been clearer. And then round 3 couldn't have been clearer to me. And it's just, round 1, Frivola landed 15 significant strikes, Pena 13, but Frivola landed 15 total strikes, Pena 21. And then Frivola had a couple takedowns, and Pena had a takedown, and Frivola with the pass, and Pena with the reversal. So you're really splitting hairs on that round.
I suppose. I mean, I guess it was because maybe it was because Pena came alive at the end of the first. That's why I gave it to him that first round.
Yeah,
because I felt like he landed the better strikes in that round. Like they were just the better strikes.
But you got to remember the way that round opened was like with Frivola just crushing Pena's legs with low kicks for a couple minutes.
Yeah, but a lot of his punches were missing. Like Pena was doing a good job of just fading away, and they were like barely missing or glancing. I just feel like the better strikes in that round came at the end.
It's fair, but Pena also had Frivola badly hurt in the second and couldn't put him away, and that means you let him hang around to win a tough third round. And
it was a great fight, though. Excellent fight.
It's a great fight. And you can't, unfortunately for them, Swanson and Gracie won fight of the night. But
I'm not surprised.
If you're Pena, this is the second time he's had to learn this lesson, both against Frivola and Trizano. You can't give up the kinds of positions he does and the kind of momentum he does and expect big moments to win the fight for you.
Yeah. It is a sport, after all.
Yeah.
That is judged on 3 rounds, not as a whole.
Yep. If it was judged as a whole, Pena probably wins it. But It's it was a close split, and I think I would have been totally fine if Pena had gotten the nod, but I was also not at all surprised he didn't.
That's fair. I guess that first round was a lot closer than I remembered.
It really, Frivola did really do really well to start that first round really fast.
Really high, yeah.
He threw a lot of strikes right away, put Pena on the back foot, and then he lost momentum, and it ended up from there very 50-50.
Pena hit that. He hit this like flying knee that was so. He set up with faking like a 1-2 and then threw the knee, and I was just like, "Oh my Lord, that is gorgeous."
If nothing else, even if it wasn't for the nickname, even if it wasn't for the wins, Pena's flying knee is enough to get him all the hype he has. Like, he just has a perfect flying knee.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And I would also watch these two guys fight every day.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Speaking of controversial decisions, though, Eric Anders, Gerald Meerschaert right before it. And this is a fight I scored for Gerald Meerschaert. Like,
same.
I get that it could have been scored for Eric Anders. I'm not totally against it, but really I think Gerald Meerschaert won that fight.
Anders won the opening round hands down.
Yeah, unquestionably.
But the second round, Meerschaert just started throwing more volume. Like, they weren't powerful shots, but he was outlanding Anders. Anders was just looking for the big punch, and it just really wasn't there. And then at the end of the round, Meerschaert threw that body kick that actually hurt Anders.
Yep.
And that's damage. That's round-winning damage in my eyes.
Yep.
So I couldn't score the second round for Anders.
No.
And then the third, Meerschaert actually rocked him with, I think it was a left hook.
Yep.
Had Anders stumbling.
Anders way overextended on a left hand, ended up falling past Meerschaert, and Meerschaert cracked him with a left hook on the counter while his head was turned. Absolutely stunned him. And like I look at the stats too. I know that you can't judge off stats because judges don't have stats, but it was 20. They have it listed 29-28 significant strikes in that round. 29 to Anders, 28 to Meerschaert. Basically no difference at all. And at that point, you got to take Anders getting rocked as the deciding factor. Even
if the strike count was a little more in the favor of Anders, you still have to take that damage into consideration.
Yeah.
Like, that's damage is like the number one criteria.
It should always be the number one criteria because it's a fight first. It's a sport second. It's a fight first.
I can't say that it's a robbery.
No.
But I definitely scored it for Meerschaert.
Yeah.
Oh, well. What can you do, though? Not leave it in the hands of the judges? Go cliche mode?
Yeah. And, for Meerschaert, like, you have a striking battle where you lose a round and you win a round, and then you have a round where you're dead even and you're betting on the judges to see that your strikes landed better. You're playing by the thin margins, and whenever you do that, you can't bank on getting a win.
How about Meerschaert just standing and banging it out, though? I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I don't know that he had any other option. He, kind of, we're talking about grapplers who don't have the wrestling game. He just does not have the wrestling game to get Anders down, and Anders doesn't have the volume to actually really easily outpoint anyone.
Or like the know-how or like polish to set up his power hand.
Yeah.
It's a little one-dimensional.
It's both these guys, it's a very middleweight way to be like right in the thick of that division and have games that are like, well, you do one thing really well and everything else is kind of like, I wouldn't bet on that if I were you.
But Anders doesn't really do anything well, like outside of being physical.
Yeah.
And have a really strong left hand.
But that's it. That's what I'm saying. Is it's just like, that division is so forgiving to people who have one thing they do, and they will find fights over and over again. They'll find fights where people just can't make them have to do anything else.
Meerschaert impressed me, man. Working off his jab and like his very low power volume game added up, and it kept building and building. And then off of that, he found a way to add some power and actually hurt Anders in 2 separate rounds. And how do you hurt someone more than they hurt you in 2 separate rounds and not win the fight?
Yeah. And, it's really rough for him because now he's lost 3 of his last 4, and you could easily argue that he should have won 3 of his last 4 because that split over Kevin Holland, that split loss to Kevin Holland was kind of trash too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't have excuses.
Yeah.
I think the judges just got it wrong, but not to the point of a robbery, but just incorrect.
Yep. They didn't see the narrow margins on which the fight should have been judged. But that's when you're going on narrow margins, you can't bank on the judge's cage side seeing them, because you hear a lot too of like refs and judges talking about like, you hear how loud strikes land when you're cage side.
Oh, sure. And
you get a different sense for the action when you're right there that people over the TV, they're not going to get that same sense of the physicality in the cage. So they could be swayed by being like, oh, well, it sounded like those shots Anders landed harder.
Like, I totally get that. But on the same token, like, you can be completely void of hearing and just your eyes see, oh, this guy is on skates right now. Yeah. This guy is about to double over because he just got kicked in the body.
Yeah, no, I get you.
It's a little frustrating.
It is. It brings us to a light heavyweight bout. The feature prelim, Ryan Spawn beat Devin Clark. And headed towards being one of, like, just a really terrible performance for Ryan Spawn. Right up until the moment he decided, like, oh, I should actually go out and win this fight. And then he totally dusted Devin Clark in a second. Yeah,
this was really on its way to being a stinker.
Yeah.
Like, I was just losing complete interest in this fight. And then all of a sudden, Span's like, oh, wait a minute. I can just let my hands go. And Clark will shell up if I do that. And that's what happened. And then oh, man. Clark can find ways to lose. Like, he's really good at that.
He's had a number now of just kind of wild losses out of fights that it really seemed like he should be on his way to winning. Whether it was the Alex Nicholson knockout or the Jan Blachowicz bulldog choke, or now this fight against Spawn where he kind of did like the poor man T Wood, where he just backed himself into the fence over and over again, crouched way down and waited to unleash big shots. It's like you're putting yourself in a terrible defensive position, and there's none of the quick speed accelerated bursts off the cage that Woodley has to totally shock people. It's just the fact that Spawn is so reluctant to throw anything that's saving you. And the moment Spawn was like, maybe I should just throw something, it was like, oh, wow, you're in a terrible defensive position, and now you're just getting cracked over and over.
And that's Clark, though, man. He definitely is big on just shelling up.
Yeah. Solid. At the end of the day, though, it put Spawn out to a 3-0 start to his UFC career at light heavyweight. And at that point, that's kind of when they start throwing you to the wolves. So I won't be surprised if he gets a significant step up next time.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that. Put him up against Rakic.
Yeah,
he's actually fighting Ozdemir. Never mind.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they could have him fight. Oh man, the Moldovan, is it? Ian Kudalaba, who just dusted Roundtree.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
because Kudalaba's going to bring it. He's going to make Spawn fight.
Exactly. Because Spawn, otherwise, like, he is huge for that division. Even among light heavyweights, being 6'5" with his reach, he's a big dude. He's got a chance to go somewhere if he can be pushed to really be a more dynamic, consistently dynamic fighter.
And pull the frickin' trigger.
Yeah. For that, Mike Davis, Thomas Gifford, and man, I hope that Gifford is in a hospital somewhere right now, getting MRIs, getting, the
CAT scans,
getting
CTE treatments.
everything. Like, put the man in a dark room, a dark, quiet room for like 6 months for concussion recovery.
He needs to be cryogenically frozen for a bit.
Yeah.
He needs a deep freeze.
And then make sure that his dad never corners him again, and that ref never refs at a UFC event again.
They actually took the referee out of there.
Did they?
Yeah, he was supposed to be the referee for the Cubs, or for the Niko Price James Vick fight, but the athletic commission removed him and put Herb Dean in there.
Nice. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, like, way to take control of the situation.
Because
unacceptable.
That was brutal, and yeah, it was just a fight that, I mean, all credit to Gifford. He put up the exact kind of fight that gets you hit and beat that badly, which is that he unrelentingly walked forward and threw volume the whole time. He threw 242 strikes in that fight.
Wow. I don't remember any of them.
242. He only landed 36% of them, but he threw strikes constantly, which gave the ref and his corner the impression that he was still in it, but he was getting murdered in there.
This is why I have not the only reason, but a big reason why I have a tremendous amount of respect for guys like Duke Roufus, because he will stop the fight if he feels like his fighter cannot compete to the best of their abilities. Yeah.
Same for Whitman, who was cage side. He threw in the towel for Nate Marquardt in one of his bouts.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Trevor Whitman as well.
Yeah.
But this is unacceptable. The referee's to blame, and Gifford's corner is to blame. Like, throw in the towel. Like, your fighter is never going to just be like, I can't fight.
No.
They're in the UFC. Like, this is what they do.
Yeah.
They're willing to die out there.
You can't go to them and say, do you want this fight stopped? Are you going to quit? Because, like, this is somebody who you have been going to them every day for months, for years of their life, and telling them, never quit.
Yeah.
You don't quit. You push as hard as you can. You fight through it. You are here to win or die, and you are going to fight as hard as you can all the time. You can't turn to them on the day in the cage and say, well, what do you think? Do you want to continue?
Especially when it's your dad.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Nick Diaz threw in the towel for Nate when he was fighting Josh Thompson.
Yeah.
And I gained a whole tremendous amount of respect for Nick Diaz when he did that. Like, that's love right there. Like, you care about the guy you're cornering. And I'm not saying Gifford's dad doesn't care about him. I'm saying he messed up.
Yeah, and there's a thing, too, where, like, a lot of parents, especially who are coaching their own kids, nobody gets ridden harder than the coach's kid. Like,
oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to have a harder time. Nobody's going to have higher expectations on them than the coach's kid. Like, it's not a relationship that I like to see in that kind of setting, you know? It's especially not at the highest pro level. Like, get an impartial judge of your ability at any point. Don't have your family in there.
Yeah, that's tough, man. This was not fun to see. Like, it wasn't fun to see. And, like, he was getting beat so bad, this should have just been a standing TKO. Like, the referee just should have jumped in, standing TKO, or the corner should have thrown in the towel. But instead, they had to wait till there's like 15 seconds left in the fight and watch this guy get face planted.
Yeah.
Like, believe me, no one loves violence more than I do. No one loves knockouts more than me. But not like this.
No, this is how people die. This is...
Yeah.
It just is. This is the way... Yeah.
Like, that's some amateur stuff. I'm trying not to use swear words. This pisses me off, though.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
Oh, credit to Mike Davis for being a freaking savage and, like, throwing all the punches in the world and being smooth as eggs and just a phenomenal fighter.
And on 4 days' notice, throwing 222 punches over 3 rounds.
And landing all of them.
And landing all of them. Yeah, man. Landed 62% of those shots.
I hope they book him against Giga Chikadze.
Down at featherweight, because this was at lightweight, but he's talked about dropping down, and I mean, he's 6 feet tall. I hope he doesn't, but if they did, I'd watch it.
Oh, yeah. This was lightweight, huh?
He was going to go to featherweight just like 2 months ago, so.
I want to see it.
Yeah, there are a lot of fights, whether it's at featherweight or lightweight, that he's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. The dude throws with all the power, just good, solid, basic, consistent form. And unlike before in his career, he was really putting some combos together, which is great to see because that's exactly what he needs.
Man, it was a brilliant performance, and it's sad that it's getting overshadowed by poor officiating and poor cornering.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess to his credit, he did get a sick knockout on his highlight reel, you know?
Yeah.
So at least for him, there's that. Did he get a performance bonus for this?
He did not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They better pay both of them something afterward. Pay Davis for showing up on short notice and absolutely demolishing this dude, and pay Gifford for like giving his life for this prelim fight in Tampa, Florida.
Man, that's I wonder if they'll give an update on this guy.
I hope so, because I'm sure. You know, I hope he doesn't have any lasting damage from this, but I also hope that this is every bit the wake-up call it should be. Like, I also hope he doesn't just walk away from this and be like, oh, well, you know, you win some, you lose some. I'll get right back in the gym.
Man, there needs to be a wave of change, I feel like, in more stringent officiating, or like I feel like part of it's like the win bonus. Like, get rid of this stupid win bonus and just let these guys fight. So that way, like, if they can't, when their health is on the line, like even more so than it already is for the simple fact that it's a fight, like a lot of these guys are in there because they don't make anything. They're not paid anything. So that extra 10 grand is everything to them.
Yeah.
Something needs to happen. I want to see more towels thrown in.
You don't want fighters, and you especially don't want their corners thinking, do I actually make any money off this fight if I don't win it?
Yeah. This fight pissed me off. Like, there has never been a more brutal knockout that has just pissed me off.
Yeah. Well, we got to move along, unfortunately. We got a lot more fights to talk about. This card was huge. Yeah. And a lot more good fights to talk about. Alex Morono beat Max Griffin. And
this was a banger.
It was a banger. And, like, few dudes out there overperform like Alex Morono. He's going out and he's giving skinny fat dudes a good name.
He's like the new Tandem McCrory.
Yeah. It's like rocking it for all the dudes.
So unassuming, like a soccer dad out there, just showing up.
I think somebody on Twitter said it looked like the captain of the football team fighting the captain of the chess club.
Yes, that's accurate.
But yeah, Alex Morono, like, he's a smart dude. He's a clever fighter, and Griffin came out throwing speed, throwing power, going after him, and Morono adjusted. He adjusted where Griffin didn't. He started finding the counter shots. He started timing Griffin's entries. Took Griffin a while to adjust. Griffin made the adjustment to go into the body, but even still, Morono's counter game just kept picking him off all fight.
And Griffin made the adjustment of going to the takedown there in the third round, which is smart, but he just couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, and that was one of those things. Like, I picked Griffin because I thought, if he is willing to wrestle, he's got such a clear physical advantage here.
Yeah.
But I think when he went for an early takedown in round one and Morono wrapped him up with a guillotine, I think that just spooked him. And he didn't go back to it until he was way in the hole and had to do something to get this fight back.
And Griffin's a banger. He likes to stand and trade. Like, even when he was hurt, he was still throwing back, even through a spinning back fist, 100% rocked.
Yep.
Like, he's a fighter through and through. This was a little bit of a mirror match.
Yeah. All credit to Griffin. He goes out and he puts on a show, but I'm impressed as hell by Alex Morono. I think he's just, like, he is way overperforming based on what God has given him to work with.
I love seeing that.
Yeah, I do too.
It's fun. It gives hope for us.
Yes. For that flyweight bout, Davison Figueiredo, Tim Elliott, and for like a bout that is legit, as Figueiredo called for afterward, a potential title eliminator. This should never have been way down on the prelims.
No, for sure. Like the Spawn fight, I think shouldn't have been the featured prelim. If anything, this should have been. This,
like, for Vola Pena was awesome. Anders Meerschaert wasn't bad, but this is a title. Like, after this fight, Figueiredo's calling for Joe B for an interim title shot, and that fight makes total sense. It is literally the only flyweight fight to book right now with Cejudo sitting on the sidelines.
You know what didn't make sense?
What?
The fact that Tim Elliott was winning the stand-up battle and decided to shoot in for no reason at all and got himself choked out because of it.
Yeah, well, I think part of that is that he was trading volume for power with Figueiredo, and the volume was landing, but you could see those shots Figueiredo was cracking him with were not something he wanted to be on the other end of.
Yeah, but neither is submission attempts.
No, submission that he got choked out by. But like, that's the thing with Figueiredo. He is so flyweight Yoel Romero. Mm-hmm. It's just like he may be like getting beat up or not really doing anything, just kind of floating around for a round, and you're like, what is this dude up to? Like, is he really that good? And then he'll just launch some singular attack where you're like, oh man, that fight's over.
Yeah, he's pretty scary. That's for sure.
He is.
And yeah, let him get it in with Benavidez. What is Benavidez doing anyways?
Yeah, like with Cejudo sitting out and maybe even just not going back to flyweight, he might stay at bantamweight. Like, who else is going to have that fight with Joe Benavidez? Sergio Pettis is even maybe out on his way out of the UFC, which is the only other top contender out there right now. So stop messing around,
But there's also, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe if Cejudo, the king of cringe, vacates the flyweight belt, they'll just do away with the division again.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for all the flyweights who are having to. I feel bad for Tim Elliott, kind of like going to bantamweight, getting hurt a bunch, and then being like, oh, flyweight's gone. Oh, wait, no, it's back. And he drops to flyweight and he takes a loss. And now you're like, is flyweight even going to stay? I have no idea.
I don't know. They're messing with people's livelihood.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh, well.
Still, hopefully Figueiredo gets that Joe B fight. Hopefully they keep the division alive. No idea, but this performance, like, he can't. It's so, how do you promote a division when even fights against top contenders are buried in the middle of the prelims?
Yeah, they don't care. The UFC doesn't care about flyweight.
Speaking of a dude who does not need to be buried on the prelims and does not need to be fighting the bottom of the bantamweight division, Marlon Vera. The prototypical Marlon Vera fight started slow for the first round. Like, he came out, he caught that arm triangle standing, which was amazing, but still probably lost round one.
That was a silly move. Like, the audacity of him to actually go for that at this level is comical. I'm not going to lie.
It is.
When have you ever seen that hit?
Man.
Maybe Alexei Olenek.
Jessica I hit it on, what's her name? Back in Bellator, way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember who it was, but that was like Zoila Frausto. There it is. My producer saving me.
Okay. Man.
But Yeah, it's just not something you see at all.
But even then, like that kind of stuff and like head and arm throws, like you don't see that in the men's division.
No. But Vera is he's such a wild killer where it's almost like he doesn't have anything other than finishing instincts. You know?
He's full on savage.
Yeah.
There's no like calculation with him. It's like
all, and but even he says like the slow first rounds are out there to get, figure out my opponent's doing, what their timing is. And the moment either he's getting beat up bad enough that he decides he doesn't want to take it anymore, or the moment he figures out what they're doing, it's just an unstoppable landslide of offense.
He was scheduled against Almeida earlier this year. Maybe that'll get booked and he'll get a ranked opponent.
I would love that. If they can't make that happen, book him against Rob Font. I mean, shit, book him against Cody Garbrandt or Jimmy Rivera. I don't care. Like,
just ranked.
Let the dude go out there and try to make something happen because he's racking up wins and he's fun as heck to watch.
Yeah. What's Cody Stamann doing?
He is fighting Song Yadong, which makes me extremely, excited and all hot and bothered.
I'm with you on that.
But
anytime Zane is hot and bothered, I'm on board.
Vera deserves respect. He's like Niko Price. Like these dudes are just thrilling.
Consistent. He's like Niko, but consistent. He's won 5 straight, all of them by finish.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like you said, it's the bottom of the barrel, but he's still doing it.
Yeah, but stop feeding him the bottom of the barrel. Like the dude's a buzzsaw,
Yeah.
That brings us to a welterweight bout. Miguel Baeza, Hector Aldana. Decent fight, not a real thriller. Baeza finished it with leg kicks, which is pretty cool, but probably the most meaningless fight on this card.
Yep. Not much to take away. Dude landed a pretty slick calf kick that ultimately buckled Aldana and finished him with ground strikes because Aldana was just like, oh, my leg hurts so bad. I'm pretty much done here. So I'm just going to cover up and let this guy get the TKO.
Yep.
That's about it.
Decent introduction for him. He's huge for the weight class, so I'm interested to see what he can do. Otherwise, not a meaningful fight.
Mm-hmm.
Still, before that, Marvin Vettori absolutely tuned up Andrew Sanchez and had a career performance that I hope him gets a much bigger fight at middleweight because he looked phenomenal.
Yeah, Sanchez didn't even show up for the first round at all.
No, I mean, I have to assume that he knows how bad his cardio problems are. And so he thought, I'll take the first round off, just survive it, and then I'll get going and let the fight really start and, get into the fight and carry it over the distance. But the problem is kind of like his cardio problems are bad enough that it's like you gave away the first round and then you had an okay second round and then you still were tired in the third round and lost that anyway. And so now instead of having a fast start that you have to battle really hard through, you just didn't win at all. You didn't have any statement at any point.
No, it was an ass fight for him. But backtracking for a second, Chito Vera won a performance bonus.
Yeah, which is great. He needs the money.
Yes.
I think he does. I think he takes a lot of fights he takes down on these cards just because he wants to show up as often as he can and get as much money as he can whenever the UFC calls on him. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little extra money in his pocket will get him being a little more selective and negotiating a little harder because this is his third performance of the night bonus, which seems like a lot, but when you consider it's his only one in this last 5 run of finishes he's had, it probably means something a bit more significant.
For sure. But yeah, Vettori, he looked sharp, man. He came to fight. From bell to bell, he just got in Sanchez's face and just put it on him.
Yeah. Great
to see. He's been training out at King's MMA.
Yeah.
He has.
He has been for a while. I think the big thing to see here was that he started going to the body a lot and mixing up his shot selection a lot more, which is good to see because I think kind of the book for him for a while has been that he's tough as hell, he's consistent, he's hard to take down, all great things, but he really only threw the same couple power shots at the head all fight. So he was really predictable. And this fight, he looked slick. He looked like he was changing things up. He looked like his timing was on. He's looking like a much more complete fighter who can, really maybe take a crack at the top 10 of that division.
Now that I think about it, I would much rather watch him fight Ion Cutelaba than Spawn. Like, that's way more exciting and fun for me.
Yeah, but he's at middleweight and Cutelaba's at light heavyweight.
Oh, is it? Man.
Yeah.
Damn. Buzzkill.
I know. Yeah, I'm thinking more like, Vettori versus Uriah Hall, maybe.
Sure. But I mean, middleweight, light heavyweight, what's the difference?
Yeah, honestly, I'm with you. All the middleweights, all the best middleweights are moving up to light heavyweight anyway, haven't you heard?
Oh, yeah, this is true.
Anyway, great performance for Vettori. It's really like, I got a feel for Vettori, Vera, Figueiredo, Aldrich. Like, just some really good, decent fighters buried on the prelims to let more hyped fighters shine on the main card or try to get them to. But that's how it is. I'm glad the card was stacked.
Yeah.
And getting to that, JJ Aldrich also, once again, with just a really good, solid, consistent, to me, pretty easy win over Lauren Mueller. I guess I did. I think I did give Mueller a round, but Aldrich really turned it up in the third to take the fight back and dominate pretty handily down the stretch.
I love watching fighters who can fight on the back foot.
Yeah.
Pressure is tough to deal with, and fight consistently having to play the matador and score while doing that is taxing and just, it's superbly difficult. So when fighters can actually do that, it's really, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So all credit to Aldrich for that. I mean, Mueller came to fight. Like, she tried.
She did. She's looking better than ever. Her round 2 in this fight was pretty inspired. She really kind of bit down, started putting her strikes together, started being more of a bully, started making her physicality count for more. And then Aldrich just came out in round 3 and swarmed her and just kind of put the stamp on her. It was pretty impressive.
I wonder what was said in between rounds, because she came out like a woman possessed. She was like, I'm a better striker, and I'm just going to let my hands go.
Yeah,
and Mueller was like, whoa, what is this? Like, I'm supposed to be coming forward.
Yep.
Good to see.
So, great performance from Aldrich. Hopefully it gets her a bigger fight, more notable spot on a card down in the future. And as advertised, this was just a rock-solid fight card top to bottom.
Yeah, aside from, like, some decisions I didn't agree with, and that the horrible faceplant knockout due to poor officiating and a incompetent corner, I'll say. It was tons of cool finishes, like cool knockouts, like the up kick of Vick, like that's my dude, but I can appreciate Niko Price knocking people out from his back. Like, that's insane.
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane.
And it's always a good sign when, like, the most boring fights on the card, Baeza Aldana and Spawn Clark, end with, like, cool highlight finishes. So you're like, oh, yeah, I don't, like, that fight was fine.
Yeah, like, this didn't need the main event to shine.
No.
But watching a master class that is Joanna Jędrzejczyk is oh, man, it's good to see. It's like, it's the cream of the crop. Like, it doesn't get better.
Yeah, like, it's always great to see great fighters perform at their best. Like, that's what we watch for.
Yeah. Oh, man. And Cub Swanson snapping that 4-fight losing slump and, like, doing what he should have done and not getting submitted like he typically does.
That's a loss Kron Gracie can afford to take and learn from,
Oh, valiant effort from him,
Yeah. Hopefully, much like Dern, hopefully this is a loss that he can look in the face and be like, okay, you know what? A few things got to change in my game.
And he doesn't have as much ground to make up as Mackenzie Dern does.
Yeah. So, overall, great fight card, great night of fights. Enjoyed it start to finish. I think that wraps us up. So you can find me on Twitter at Zane Simon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at Eddie Mercado. Give the show a like and check us out over on BloodyElbow.com. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.